Dude, look at you. I mean, it's so good to see you. First of all, it's been a long time. Well, not that long. I mean, what were we, class of what, 2014? Is that what it was? Just go with it. Just go with it. Uh,
Yeah, that's right.
how's it going, man?
Doing all right, man. Doing even better now that I get to see you. Doing okay. Hanging
Well,
in, and it's good
I
to
guess
be back.
that depends on who you ask. That depends on who you ask. But where are you these days? I mean, look at the hair. I mean, God, what do you do? I mean, like, how long did that take you to grow?
The only reason it's that long is because of the eye, and I haven't wanted to get anybody close to it to cut it, but I started letting it grow out last October for my role in Nutcracker in San Diego. I let my hair grow out a little bit.
Oh,
And
okay.
after I came back and did Nutcracker in San Diego, I just let it continue to grow. Don't usually have it like that long or this that long, but just recently just been letting it grow out.
Yeah, that was
I
kind of
don't
me
know.
during COVID. Yeah, that was kind of me during COVID, and we'll see how long I can get this going. But I'll hear it from the kids for sure. They let me know. They're the sounding board. They're the ones that are like,
Yeah.
Daddy, we gotta talk. The 10-year-old, the little one, she's the first to say, yeah, cut. Now, go.
You got some cute kids, man.
Thanks,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. But enough about me. I mean, we're here to talk about you. And for those of you who are watching and don't know, both of us, Oscar Burciaga and I, we went to high school together, all boy Catholic school. And when I first found out, when you started your career, what you're up to now, and I'll let you speak more about that, obviously, but the first thing that came to my mind was, were you in the closet when it came to dancing? Because for me, at an all-boy private school with all that testosterone out there, and our friends, dancing, poetry, I was a closet poet, last thing that you want to publicly display at a school like that with the people we hung out with. So what was the deal? I mean, did you just keep that a secret? Because that just came out of left field for me. I had no idea.
No, a lot of my friends knew, but it was like a double life, so to speak. If you remember, I did play freshman football, and apart from that, it was just something that I had been doing since way before high school. So it was just part of my normal, everyday routine. It wasn't that I kept it a secret. Some of my friends knew, and even some of them had seen me perform throughout high school. And even at that, my first year doing Viva El Paso was the summer before our freshman year, and I did it every summer. So people knew. Even some people in high school were working at McElligin Canyon during the summers while I was performing. They do hospitality or stuff like that, or even tech work.
Right.
So people knew, but I just, I wasn't out there voicing it. I, definitely didn't participate in any of the school plays or anything like that. Wasn't that I kept it hidden, just wasn't, and I never felt threatened by it or having been at Cathedral or being at Cathedral and studying. It was never an issue. All my buddies were cool with it. And
Awesome.
It wasn't something that I was scared to share. That's just the way it turned out.
After high school, then walk me through it. I mean, your career has taken you to many different places. What was that like, and how did that start?
Actually, I've got to speak to what I was able to achieve here, because if I hadn't done that, at 13, I auditioned for Viva El Paso. And this was when Hector Serrano, the original creator and founder, director of Viva El Paso, was still in charge. But at 13, I already had a professional contract. I was getting paid over the summer to perform. And I did that for 5 seasons. So as a 13, 14-year-old going into a professional realm where I was getting paid over the summers,
Yeah,
making a little bit of money to buy some clothes for Cathedral the next year. Um, I think that really gave me the impulse to think, well, why can't I try to make a living off of this, or why can't I go study this? So
absolutely. So let me just kind of stop you right there, because now, did you at 13 think to yourself, I'm professional, I'm getting paid for doing this? Or is that something that came to you later and you kind of
it,
just like, wait a minute, hang on a second.
it comes later. You realize that you like it and that you can make a living off of this, and it makes you want to go and explore. It makes you want to see if you can really do it, or if you're really good enough. Thinking of myself as a professional, I knew that I had reached a certain point here in town in El Paso regarding dance.
Right.
It was probably the only place that I was going to be able to really grow as an artist, not just a dancer, but I think it was the pinnacle of being a dancer here in El Paso. After that, there wasn't anything else. So I
Mhm.
think it was more of, okay, get through this and then let's see where the next step takes you. Um, I knew I wanted to do something in dance. I didn't know what. Nobody in my family was a dancer. We didn't have dance at Cathedral. I didn't have any counselors who could tell me what to do or where to go study or what to research. Um, all I knew is that I wanted to go. And senior year, we're getting ready to graduate. I was, enrolled at UTEP, ready to go to UTEP, after graduation. So that summer, the summer of '94, we graduated. I'm dancing in Viva, and June, July roll around. I'm like, I don't want to go to UTEP. I'd rather go study dance. And I told my mom, I was like, I don't want to go. I said, how about we go check out Mexico City and see if I can enroll in a dance school, Mexican folklore school. She didn't like the idea at first, but she was always very supportive and ended up taking me to Mexico City,
Right
where I
on.
found a place to live. I enrolled in the school, the Ballet Folklorico of Mexico, and was there for the fall semester of '94, just after graduation.
That is
So
awesome.
it was
So how was that? Were you afraid? Like, were you afraid to have that conversation with your mom?
yes and no. I mean, how do you all of a sudden say, I don't want to go to college here and I want to go study dance? But again, you don't know unless you try. And she was the
Right.
one who took me to the first dance class and was always very supportive. And for some reason, I just knew what I wanted to pursue. I didn't know how it was going to go, but I knew I wanted to pursue that.
That's awesome. I mean, how you just hit on something, because, oftentimes it's our parents that introduce us to some of this stuff when we're little to give us something to do. You know what I mean? And how odd it might be when a parent says, wait, you want to really do that? You're going to go to college, right? No, I'm going to do what you wanted me to do when I was 5.
I took off to Mexico City, and it was my first semester, and I came home for Christmas break '94, and my mother wasn't doing too well. And that was the Christmas vacation. She was diagnosed with cancer and passed away 6 weeks later.
Oh, man.
So she actually passed away while I was on a flight trying to get back home from Mexico City. So all of these things happen very, very quick. I graduate high school. I move off to Mexico City. I'm there for a semester. I come back to visit. My mother gets diagnosed with cancer and she passes away 6 weeks later. Now I'm like, what do I do? Basically, my life stopped for a little while, just a little under a year. I came back home, took care of stuff here at home, was with my brother, got him into, she started Cathedral. And then I was, it's like, what am I doing? I need to go back. I need to continue, or I need to, pick up where I left off somehow. Um, and yeah, picked myself up, got out of El Paso, went back to Mexico City, was there for probably a week or two, and I ended up opting to go to the University of Colima down south Mexico. Um, and that's where I continued my education in dance now at the University of Colima, and more than anything because I wanted to perform, I wanted to travel, and the university has an amazing folklorico group. Um, and my thing was, yeah, I needed to learn, I needed to get a degree in dance, but I wanted to travel. I wanted to work to get into a company that would take me all over the world, basically. And that's what I ended up doing. I went and I started studying at the university at the dance department, and started rehearsing with the company.
When we find ourselves in this place, right, and all of a sudden you're kind of living the dream at this point, because you've taken it upon yourself to go out and pursue something that not a lot of people get to do. The majority of us, we take the college route, especially coming from our high school, right, where that was the norm for us, right, and we had to do that, and it was highly encouraged. But you decided, you know what, I already know what I want this, and so let's make it happen. And I'm going to kind of stray a little bit outside of what the norm is and do it. So in that sense, I'm trying to be better than average here. I don't want to just study it, I want to perform it. And then, working hard for it obviously is really, really important. How long were you traveling? How long were you just performing and then just living that life?
I've I've lived it my whole life. You know, um, as soon as I left El Paso after high school to go to Mexico City, that's where everything really changed. I mean, to leave El Paso, a small town like El Paso, to go to one of the biggest cities in the world, where all of a sudden I don't have the Franklin Mountains telling me which direction is which or where I am, that moment in time. I started traveling. It was exciting. There's a whole world out there that, we need to go and explore and see and find ourselves and see where we fit in all of this. The whole thing for me is, as far as this dancing thing and wanting to leave and travel, was me being happy. I don't know where I got this from. This wasn't instilled in me as a kid or through my family, but it's like, this is my life. I get one opportunity. This is what makes me happy. And if I can somehow struggle and work at it so that later on I can make a nice living from it, then why not? It's my happiness. It's what I want to do. Why should I go do something that other people want me to do?
Absolutely.
And I think that mentality came from. And not only that, I really wanted to see the world and travel. Dance would allow me to do that. And it did. It came to fruition. I put it out there in the universe, worked hard for it, and it happened.
Absolutely. Good for you. I mean, it's so funny when we talk about the word happy, right? And I talk about it in my last book, The Happy Manifesto. Maybe what I should have said was that we all have different definitions of what happy is. And so your definition of happiness equals dancing, performing, seeing the world. Walk me through the decision to say, you know what, I am now going to share this now. When did the teacher part in you start to come into play?
Well, while I was studying in Colima and traveling with the company, I was part of a select few that would travel with the director. While I was in college, I was already coming up here to the States to teach at the mariachi conferences in Las Cruces and Juarez, and even here in El Paso. So I had started teaching and doing certain things, trying to figure out how, or, my style of teaching, or what exactly I wanted to teach within dance. Once I finished in Colima, I actually, a little bit of a story in between there, but I ended up in San Diego as a professional dancer, now classical ballet. But while there, that's when I really had to, in the beginning, supplement a little bit of my income. And I was teaching ballet classes as well as folklore classes. So it was in the early 2000s that I really started getting into a little bit more and more teaching. Now, to actually eat as an adult now, apart from performing. So little by little, it started to really grow. I don't think it really blew up until about 2008, when after the ballet season, I would go back to the University of Colima and teach over the summers at their summer dance workshop series. That's where I really started honing in on a lot of just the teaching skills and what I wanted to teach and how I wanted to teach and what was my approach. And it was kind of like going back to school, so to speak. I was getting paid to go and teach, but now I'm trying to settle in and figure myself out as a teacher.
You defined happiness as performing, traveling through dance and the whole thing. At one point, did that definition of happiness include the teaching aspect of it?
I think it started coming in hand about halfway through my professional career in San Diego. I was there for a good 20 years. I think halfway through 2010 was when it really started to mesh and blend very, very well together. Because now I had a whole season of dancing, and once I was done, I was off in other parts, either US or Mexico, teaching. And I was doing both, teaching ballet, classical ballet, and Mexican folklore. So it was, a good 10 years that I was doing both. And that's when I was, I think, at my happiest, because I was performing. I had a contract as a performer, I had a contract as a production manager, and I was being contracted to go and travel all these other places to teach. So I think that was just like, seriously, having my cake and eating it too. That was like the best of both worlds. Yeah.
That is so awesome. And, obviously when we have our cake and eat it too, everything's clicking for us, right? And everything's going extremely well. And then a shoe drops, whether it's a physical thing. We talked a little bit in our pregame talk here about staying in shape. How do you stay in shape? Because as I said before, we're getting to an age where we're dealing with gravity, shrinkage, maybe, soreness. I play a lot of tennis. We're not getting any younger, man. We're not going to be those kids in high school ever again. But what do you have to do in order to prepare your body for the physical demands of dance? And it is physical and it is demanding. Like, what do you do? What's your routine?
Well, I think ballet, being a classical ballet dancer, switching over and becoming that classical ballet dancer is what really taught me how to, what's needed, because now you're living a life much like a professional athlete, football player, basketball player, where you're constantly in the studio every morning taking your class and training, but you also have 4, 5, 6 hours of rehearsal every single day, plus performances. So I think the biggest thing is training properly, proper technique, but you got to do it every day. You can't stop. You've got, even when you have downtime, you've got to stretch, you got to do something, you got to do your ballet class, you got to do, your push-ups, your sit-ups, maybe a little bit of weights, whatever you need to do to stay in shape. But more than anything, I've never stopped. I've never stopped. And that, I think that's the biggest deal. If I were to stop right now, give me a month or two, and then, the body's going to start feeling it, and it's hard to get it back. And
It's like a
that's where the
train.
injuries come in. Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
train, man. I mean, it's kind of hard to stop the train, but then you got to start it up again. And that's me in the mornings when I get up, and, the older we get, right? But you're totally right. I think there's a lot to be said when it comes to just, number one, do something and be consistent with it. And if we can do that, I mean, if we're not moving our bodies in some way, then we're not taking full advantage of what we have available to us. And that's on the physical side, right? I mean,
Use it or lose it.
yeah, absolutely. Use it or lose it, man. You're totally right about that. And that's the stuff that we can control. But as you mentioned before, there's another aspect to being healthy that is beyond our control. And of course, this is kind of a pivotal moment now in our conversation. But, for those of you who don't know you, or for those of you who don't follow me on social media, I recently shared a GoFundMe link that was created by a good friend of yours here in El Paso. And so talk to me a little bit about that elephant in the room, the things that are beyond our control, and what we're doing to kind of deal with that.
Well, yeah, we never know what's, around the next corner or down the road. I guess, I've been, after all these months of having to deal with this, I can honestly say that I've been living with, a certain type of cancer almost my whole life. Interestingly enough, thankfully it has manifested itself at this point in my life, as opposed to continue being concealed. And who knows what might have happened 5, 10, 15 years down the road. Could have been
Right.
a whole lot worse. But right now, going through ocular melanoma, cancer of the eye, and I've, had to go through several CT scans and MRIs and blood tests and everything to figure out what was going on. And it took a while for them to really come out and say, yeah, you've got cancer. We hear the tests and the results that say you've got melanoma cells in your eye, and we're going to have to remove the eyeball and remove the eyelid. It's quite scary. It was quite scary to hear the news. You want to make sure you get all your tests done and get all the results, and have everything explained to you, so that you know what's really going on, because the C word isn't fun.
Well, no, especially after your mother, right? I mean, when
Right.
you heard that word for the first time, is that where you went? Did you go back there? I mean,
My mother passed away 1 month shy of her 45th birthday. So last year, I was already here in El Paso, 44, just about to turn 45. And I'm thinking, my mother never saw 45. I just want to, I want to get to 45. Made it to 45. 6, 7 months later, I'm being diagnosed with cancer. And now, I just turned 46. So made it to 45, 46, but now I'm the one that's diagnosed with cancer. It's, it was very hard to really comprehend what was going on. And at first it really didn't click. It really didn't click until I started really delving into it. The doctor visits and all the exams they need you to take. Then it started hitting me. I was like, oh, wow. I was like, the first time they told my mother she had cancer, 6 weeks later, she passed away. So then I'm thinking, oh no, 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 no. What do we, you know, what can you do in one instance, and you know, what can't you do, and what are you gonna do, and how are you gonna process this, and what it's a lot to take in. It's a
Time
lot to
too,
take.
right? I mean, did you start thinking about, okay, 6 weeks for her, how long for me? Did those thoughts start entering your mind?
Oh, of course, of course. It's just like, you know, now you really start really talking to the doctors and asking the really tough questions, and really seeing as to whether or not are you or are you not healthy,
Right.
you know. After, you know, they check out your whole body and try to rule out cancer anywhere else. I think waiting for those results were the hardest. It's like, am I riddled with cancer? Am I gonna go down like, you know, like my mother did? So when the results come back and they say, you know what, everything looks good, you just gotta take your, you know, we gotta take your eye out. They told me, says, we're gonna save the body. And in order to save the body, we've got to take the eye out. We've got to take the cancer out. It's like, you know, let's do it. We're scheduled May 26th to have the surgery.
And you still have your ears so that you can hear and you can feel, and you still have your legs. And so that means that you can perform,
I can
right?
go
I
back
mean,
doing what I was doing.
yeah, absolutely. And more importantly, teach. So what do you have to do to yourself then? Like, how do you stay motivated? I'm sure that there are those downtimes. And I remember when my father was diagnosed with cancer, he was in disbelief at first. He was just like, oh, okay, whatever, you know, and we lost him at age 66. And I remember how that was. There was a roller coaster. He had his ups, he had his downs. So on your downtime, you know, when you're kind of feeling a little low or scared, because this is a surgery. I mean, they're taking out an eye. What do you do to bring yourself up when you're down?
Oh God. To be honest, at the beginning, and for months and months, I would stand out here in my back patio day or night and just dance, or think about what I was teaching at the moment, or create, or, you know, figure out steps or technique or anything to keep the mind going, keep the body moving. Have, feel different sensations, get the endorphins moving, get the negativity out. And, you know, think. I can drive. I think we can all drive ourselves crazy just sitting down and thinking and getting lost in those emotions and those bad thoughts. Especially when you receive, you know, bad news while you're going through cancer.
Right.
I think the hardest moment for me was the day that they told me definitively, Oscar, we're gonna have to take your eye out. We're gonna have to surgically remove the eye and the eyelid. I cried in the doctor's office, got in my car, drove home, told some of my family, and then you know, went outside to think for a couple of hours. I think the first 24 hours after receiving the news were really, really hard. And I think that's where it can go either way. And it's really, I think it's really up in here, because there was a moment where I could have just gone over to the dark side and been very, very sad and very depressed and very angry and hateful, and why me, and let everything go and not want to do anything or dance or exercise or deal with my dog or my family, you know, just blow it all to the wind. But after so many years and after so much work and after why, and the fact that it's going to be okay. Yeah, it sucks, but I'm going to be okay. Like you said, I still got my legs, I got my arms, I got my brain. I still got one good eye. I can still see. I'm still driving. And the excitement for what I'm doing here now in El Paso, to be honest with you, is taking over Ballet Folklorico of El Paso as
Yeah.
director,
There you
teacher.
go. You look great in
And
those shades, by the way.
and working with these kids. So, you know, I'm building my own brand of dance here now in El Paso.
That's awesome, man. So it's like, is that a dream come true? A lot of people like to leave and they don't come back, right? They go and spread their wings, and hey, God bless them. That's great. But coming back home and bringing it around full circle and running a production company out here, and just keeping a great tradition alive and being at the helm of that, is that the ultimate for you?
I'm very lucky. Yeah, yeah. I'm very lucky. And the pandemic had a lot to do with it, man. The pandemic had a lot to do with it. You know, San Diego is a very expensive town, and I had the opportunity to come back home to El Paso. So, you know, let's go.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's great to be back home. It's great to be back home. But yeah, it's, you know, it is it is what it is. And I'd much rather be on the other side, on the healing side, as opposed to dealing with what you're seeing there.
You're a beautiful soul. You're a beautiful guy. I mean, anybody who knows you and who has gone through a class or has seen you perform, they completely understand that. You're so much more than what your appearance is. Okay. Maybe not your hair. I'm super jealous of your hair, by the way, but that's another story. What do you use? My God, it's so flowing.
Tell you later.
Yeah, you gotta let me know, man. But yeah, I think that it's a good thing that the people who are around you, the people who know and love you and believe in you, you've got something in you that a lot of people recognize, and it doesn't matter, right? So sharing this and being comfortable in your own skin, I mean, I think so many people can absolutely learn from the outlook that you have right now. I'm sure that there are people who are going to watch this and they're going to say, well, God, it could be me. Or what I was thinking, I could have gone to the dark side too. I mean, no one would have ever blamed you. But, you know, you said it, you've worked so hard for what you have right now to come full circle. And you've got that long-term plan now coming back home to El Paso. And I think we're going to be better for it. Do you see this in some strange way as maybe a blessing?
Yeah, it like I said, this could have continued to stay underneath the tissue and we would have been fine, but who knows where it would have gone in 5-10 years. Yeah. It's coming up now, and we're gonna have to take it out now, and I'll be able to, you know, continue on with my life healthy, instead of having cancer growing inside that I didn't even know was cancer.
Right. No, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm very, 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 very lucky. And apart from that, this could have been a lot worse. It could have been, you know, in my brain, in my lymph nodes, and, you know, other parts of my body, and it's not. So
thank God. Yeah, no, thank God for that. Oscar, listen, man, we've taken up a lot of your time, and I know it's precious, and I know you've got pending surgery and you've got a lot more, you know, you've got more important things to do than chat with me, but I definitely appreciate the time that you've given me and allowing us to know a little bit more about you, share your story. There will be a link in this video, absolutely, to that GoFundMe page. Share it, share it, share it, donate, donate, donate. And Oscar, dude, you're awesome, man. Love you, dude.
Thank you, Philip. I love you, man. I wish we got to go out, hang out, get a beer, get some food, to actually, you know, shake your hand, give you a hug. But thank you for doing this. I greatly appreciate it, man. I really, really do.
Not a problem.
And yeah, we'll be in touch. We'll continue to do some more stuff, man.
Absolutely. This is just the beginning, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All righty, man. Take it easy.
Gracias, carnal. Have a good one, brother.
You too.
Right.
Amazing. I mean, what can you say? The dude just kind of takes your breath away with his story, his attitude, his outlook. Cancer, as many of us know, unfortunately, is a serious thing. and it affects so many of us in different ways. None of us feel that it's ever going to directly affect us. And for Oscar, on top of the world, doing something that he loves to do, performing, teaching, traveling the world over through dance, living his dream, fostering the dreams of others along the way, gets blindsided with this news, and the outlook that he has is just amazing. And having conversations behind the scenes here with him, he's the real deal. So we can learn from him, and we can learn from other people who have gone through cancer, come out on the other end, people who have been affected by it in its many ways. So yeah, link at the bottom of this video, absolutely, to his GoFundMe page. I definitely encourage anybody, if you can, to donate. And if you can't donate, share the link. Okay, it's not about anything other than just bringing more awareness to a guy that's just a really great guy. And we are really lucky to have him. And my hope is that he runs his production company here in El Paso, Texas for many years and affects many more lives. Okay, that's it for today's video, or this week's video. I can't wait to share more stories with you on this channel. Subscribe, share, like, all that stuff. Notification bell. I'm getting used to this. I'll see you in the next one.